The affair wasn't entirely his fault either. I had stopped believing in his dreams. But now, after everything we've been through, we're now stronger than ever. Hey, what's up? What's going on, everybody? You have now tuned in to my Powers recap. Guys, make sure you subscribe if you haven't, and share this video wherever you like to share videos. All right, let's go ahead with these shout-outs, right? So shout out to Nelly Mac 91, who was like, laugh out loud, Tasha needed the money, yet she had a $2 million check that could have covered her and the kids for a while. Something tells me that Tasha is plotting her exit strategy. Laugh out loud. She has been stashing cash for a while now. She's not slick at all. Her look when Ghost asked her about the check was a dead giveaway. You know what? You're right, because I was sitting here looking like, but what did happen to that money? And you're right, she has been stashing money and her mail at her friend Akeisha's house. So it could be that it's something like that she's doing. Rainy J was like, thanks for the shout out, Samore. No problem. I got you. And Brooklyn 89999 was like, I'm mad they killed Julio. I'm mad they freaking killed Julio too, yo. He was like a main character. Like, they could have just killed Jukebox and I would have been good with it. You know what I mean? All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this episode. It had a lot of stuff going on. So Tommy, he now knows that Kanan is alive. He found out through his people from the little stash house or whatever, his drug house. And they told him that Ghost was the one who robbed them and he came through with Kanan. So you're like, wait, hold up, Kanan's alive? So he already knew something was up. So luckily around that time, Jamie just so happens to call him as well. Tommy lets Jamie know when he actually sees him that Tasha had gotten like this ransom message at one point, this picture message with a hand over Tyriq, kind of looking like it could have possibly been Kanan, but you know, they kind of dismissed that thought because they felt like he was dead and it was no way that it could have been him. And Tyriq just kind of was like, oh, it was a prank, it was nothing, you know? At that point, that's when we all know that Ghost had pretty much went to jail, so they knew they wasn't about to get no money anyway at that point. Ghost, he tells him that Kanan pretty much killed Jukebox to save this dude, and he's like, yo, none of this is really adding up. If it wasn't you, none of this would have went this way. You know, I mean, and it's so true. If they didn't have that type of alliance, like you straight up tried to kill the dude, you straight up had him locked away, and he still spared your life and your kid's life. You know what I mean? Like, that's love right there. I don't care what nobody say. That's real love. You know what I mean? Like, somebody just spared your life. I'm making sure my microphone's on. Tommy asked Tyriq if Dre knew that Kanan was alive, but Tyriq, I don't know. This boy gets me so upset. Like, he straight up was like, you know, like, this is not the point. This is not the time where you do the stop snitching code or anything like that. Like, you seen how much trouble everything just went down and you still being a little dickhead. Like, he's making me so upset, you guys. Tyriq pretty much lied and said, nah, he didn't know. He just lied to him too. And I'm like, why are you protecting him? Okay. I guess you want somebody cool and who you think is neutral to be down with you. But you're doing the wrong thing right now. Like, you seen how lying just got you into a whole bunch of mess where the people just almost freaking kill you off and you still lying. Boy, he need a good belt whipping, okay? He need the freaking spoon. He need something. He need to take it back to the old days, y'all. So Angela, she's still suspended from her job, and John, he's trying to like make sure that, he's trying to patronize them, and he's saying that he got off because he was too new to the case to have any type of knowledge about what was going down, all the corruption in the force, in their little, you know, whatever, their little firm or whatever. So yeah, he seemed like he's the only one that's good out of all of them. And he's still trying to work on this case. So Tasha, she was pissed because Tyriq came home pretty much the next day with Ghost, and she's like, you know, where were you? She was like real adamant. She was like ready to give him that whooping. You know, she had that face on. She's like, no, I don't want to hear it. And then he came up with her face on some, you lied in my face. You told me you didn't know what happened to Shawn. I was like, well, excuse the hell out of me. I don't care if I lied to you, you know. I don't care what it is. Like, this boy, he done lost a whole ton load of respect for everybody. I mean, he's just on some I don't give an F. Like, him going in his mother's face like that, that was unacceptable. Like, I don't care what you've been through. Like, you straight up doing too much. And if that's the case, like, maybe he needs to go to therapy or something. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, he's getting out of control. Like, seriously. Soon he's going to be running the streets, too. I mean, and without Kanan, he's going to be doing it willingly. Or maybe he might meet up with Kanan again. Who knows? I mean, the way that he is right now, who knows what he'll do. I mean, he's pretty much hooked on that lean stuff anyway. So Tasha and Ghost, they get into like this big argument, kind of revealing all their dirty little secrets, or a good portion of them. And they didn't realize that Raina was like right outside the door, pretty much listening to everything that their mother that both of them was saying. But she did kind of break it up at one point and kind of knock on the door, and kind of, I guess she didn't want to hear anymore. So she knocked on the door and let him know that there was somebody that was at the door and they were coming upstairs. And I'm like, yo, what kind of building is this that people can just come upstairs and come inside your house like that? Like, that's how, do they own the whole entire floor that if somebody comes up, they just come straight into your house? I mean, is there no doors? They just literally come up and then they're in your house. I don't understand how this works. Like, what happened to, like, a good security system? I'm pretty sure that Stern does not have the authority, you know, or special pass to be able to come into his house like that. You know what I mean? Like, he just straight up walked in there. And he's like, hey, like, what are you doing here? So he tells James that he needs to get ready for an interview, you know, to kind of put it out there that he's innocent and to show the world that he's a free man. And so they can move forward in their little project, you know, where he's the face of the white man's dream, you know what I mean? And just kind of holding it down for him while he's the silent partner who still tries to run everything. So, you know, at first, Tasha wasn't really feeling it. She didn't really want to do it. She's just like, nah, like, but he convinced her to do it because it would be a good look for all of them and to kind of put him out there as a free man, etc., etc. So, yeah. And Tommy, he pulls out a gun on Andre because, you know, he still doesn't really trust Andre too much. He's kind of taking him at face value to a certain extent. But I feel like deep down inside, he knows that there's a lot of lies going on. And he's going to end up getting to the bottom of it. So he might be the next person that we see kind of, I mean, I don't know how long he can literally last on these lies. Something's going to go down with him. I know it. Because he's being too sneakish. You know what I mean? He got the devil in his eyes. So, yeah, he comes up and he's like, you know, I ain't doing it. I didn't know anything about Kanan. You know, that's word to everything. I didn't know. So, Tommy puts the gun away, like, all right, you know. And then he tells him, yo, we got a bigger thing to worry about. This is Julio's car. And I ain't seen Julio in, I think he said 48 hours or whatever. He's like, I've been trying to call him, nothing. So, they go inside the warehouse. You see it right there laid out on the floor was our boy Julio. But, you know, Tommy's smart. Tommy looked at him. He ain't scared of a little bit of death. He looked at him, noticed his whole freaking neck was cut off. The 718 for the Toros Locos was gone. So he already knew, like, all right, this was a Toros Locos thing. I'm going to have a talk with them. And Andre didn't even look at the body, so he didn't know that all that had happened. So he's like, shit, you know, like, man, this is not okay. This is not acceptable. Tasha, she's talking to Silver. And she's consulting with him, telling him what she needs to do and how she's not really feeling it. But he does say that this is something that it would be a good look to just kind of put it out there that he's a free man and for her to be a part of it because it shows they're all united. And yeah, like it is actually a good idea. But she tells him that he says he doesn't really want to represent Jamie anymore. And she's like, but I need you. And once she says that, he kind of looks at her with that little devious little smile, you know, looking at her like she's a snack. You know, and he's just like, you know what? I'll be there, but not for James. For you. And I'm like, oh, damn. This ain't good. So now, Jamie and Proctor, they meet up and they talk about the tape and, you know, and now Jamie knows that Tommy's like a loose cannon and he stabbed Bailey, who's Homeland Security, and, you know, how he's like kind of ruthless, you know, he's just like out of control. He's doing whatever he wants to do, and he did it in his house on top of that. So, you know, at the end of the day, Jamie's a little worried just because Proctor's no longer his attorney. So he doesn't have, I guess, that power of client power or whatever it's called, you know, where he has to not say anything that he learned or anything that he heard. So that's in the back of Jamie's head, like, all right, I gotta be careful what I tell him, you know, I can't be getting him caught up in stuff. So the Toros Locos dude, he realizes that he messed up. So when he sees Tommy, he brings Tommy some little Joe Smo, some little dude that don't even speak English, talking about he was the one who did it. And then, you know, Tommy off the dude just for kind of entertainment purposes, but he's like, yo, you expect me to believe that this little dude right here was the person who took down Julio? Like, Julio was fierce. And he's just like, I don't believe it. Now y'all owe me. Like, now you need to let me see. He pretty much said, like, he needs to see their boss or whatever. The big guy, the guy at the top. So they was just like, he was like, you know, I'll see what I can do. He's like, nah, it's not no, I'll see what I can do. It's either you're going to do it or I'm going to have to off you right now, and then they're going to come looking for me. So either way, I'm going to see them with or without you. That's what we going to do. And I'm like, yo, Tommy doesn't give two F's about anything. Like, yo, he's straight, like, he doesn't care. Because he doesn't have anything to live for. He doesn't have anything to care about. Like, at the end of the day, he's gone, you know? Like, the only people he really has is his mom, who's, like, weird. And then he has his you know, ghost in him, who he calls his brother or whatever, and Angela. Tasha. Other than that, he don't really have anybody that he, like, trusts or call family or anything like that. So, yeah, that's pretty much how that's going down. He don't care about nothing. So they showed another grueling and gruesome scene where, I guess the worker, he was, like, stealing coke from this man and this woman, which came to find out later on was, like, this dynamic duo, brother and sister. And they made the dude overdose. Like, straight up, like, they like, oh, you want to take product from us? So here you go. They put a whole bunch on the tables, like, yo, sniff that, otherwise we'll shoot you. It's like, either way, you're going to die anyway. So he just ended up, like, sniffing it because he thought that was going to spare his wife and his child. They end up killing off his wife as soon as he finished dying, and blood is coming out of his ears and every crevice because he had so much coke in his system that they freaking, they freaking end up killing his wife with a silencer, and then they took his kid to, I guess, raise as their own. And I'm just like, yo, this is crazy. So now they left this little card. And remember, we saw those cards before when Ghost tried to pretend that he was them. You know, he was posing as them before. So yeah, that was pretty crazy. So Jamie and his family, they were sitting on the couch, you know, looking kind of like the Brady Bunch family, like all of them, like all dressed up, ready for church, you know, just trying to be America's black family face, you know, and they asked like a few questions. Once they got to Tasha, started asking her questions about like the infidelity and also about her not wearing her ring. She kind of seemed like she was a little bit stumped. Like, she didn't really know what to say. So luckily Silver was straight across because, remember, she had asked him to come. And he kind of gave her little, like, signs on things that she can, to kind of jog her memory and get her to say the lies that she's supposed to say, to look like she's the good wife that's by his side and doesn't care about all these crazy things, you know? And she just kind of assumed responsibility of the infidelity and said it was her fault because she didn't believe in his dreams. And to be honest, like, I've said that numerous times. I mean, no one wants to admit it, but in some ways, I feel like it was partly her fault that he also cheated, because all she wanted was the drug dealer version of him. She didn't want him to do better. She didn't want him to excel. She didn't believe in him. So he went to the person who did believe in his dreams and what he was trying to accomplish. So even though it's not ideal, it's not a good situation, it is what it is, you know? And regardless to how anybody feels about it, that's what it is. And she actually admitted that on, you know, TV and everything. And it kind of caught his attention and really like sunk in when she said those words, because I guess he really like believed it. Little did he know it was the other man over there coaching her and letting her know exactly what to say. But, you know, he was impressed. And I guess everybody else was impressed because they kind of like chilled off for her after that. So Tommy, he went to go meet up with the Jimenez brothers, but they actually wasn't Jimenez brothers. They was the Jimenez brother and sister. Contrary to what people would normally believe, because I guess they thought like these people are so hardcore that it can't be a woman and a man, it can't be a brother and sister dynamic duo, but it actually was. When I seen them, I thought it was like husband and wife dynamic duo, like on some Bonnie and Clyde type of joint, but it was actually brother and sister. So yeah, Tommy, he tells them that he killed Lobos. He helped them out. They're like, we did that. They're like, we got him stabbed in jail. They're like, but he actually survived. If it wasn't for me, he would not, you guys, he was coming after you guys as well as anybody else who crossed him. So yeah, you guys owe me double now. So they were like, they're going to consider it or whatever. So I guess they're going to get back to him. I mean, those two, I don't know, like they just the type to not care, you can't really trust them. But it seemed, Tommy, like I said, he's at the point where he don't care. Like he'll talk to anybody the way he needs to talk to them and show them that he doesn't fear them. I mean, he done been through so much. He been tortured and battered, abused. I mean, he almost went to jail. This guy done been through a whole lot. Tyriq, he's straight addicted to the lean, like I was saying earlier. He's mixing his Sprite with his scissor. I mean, he's on some next level joint, and he's doing it several times throughout the day. I don't know where he gonna get so much medicine from to keep up his little addiction that he got going on, but his sister at one point had even came in the room and he freaking pushed the girl on the floor, so he wants some next level. So meanwhile, while that's happening, while her son's getting addicted, Tasha, she's hanging out with Silver and his friends. I think they were doing karaoke because she was singing and she just sounds so good, you know. That's them, what was it? What was she in? 3LW, right? Wasn't that what it was? Get real tight if you're broken promises, looking at your pictures, singing different numbers and numbers, calling your understudy, hanging with the fellas, hanging with my girl, she always getting jealous. I was with you when you didn't have no dollars, hanging with the crib, chilling with your mama. That was the song, right? I hope it was. If not, I just sang that song for no reason. But yeah, she was singing and everything, and you could just see the twinkle in his eye. You could see that he was falling more for her, and he was impressed by her. Like, even his friends were like, oh snap, like she could sing, like that's a winner right there, you know what I mean? And they ended up making out, and I'm just like, ah, oh, damn, here we go. Now she gonna be the one. But I mean, at the end of the day, dude can't complain because he started this game. Like, I feel like she was faithful up until the fact where he started playing her, you know? And when a woman scorns, honey, I mean, he's lucky enough that he has her not, like, throwing him under the bus. Like, she still is down for him. And most likely because they also have the kids and there's a lifestyle she has to maintain. So, you know, she's not fully set at the moment. But, you know, she's doing what she got to do. And plus, if she divorces him, doesn't she, I believe, or if they divorce each other, they don't get any money or something along those lines, remember? From the prenup that they had. So they both kind of stuck in a little bit of a jam. So it could be the reason why she's taking money so she can get out of this once and for all. Like, what's his name has said. So, when Tasha goes home after making out with this man, she gets home, and Jamie, he gives her this big old ring, honey. Like, a huge ring. Talking about oh, you made me believe in myself, and how he's proud of her. And she just seemed like she was at a loss for words. Like, yo, what is this? And he gives her like a little kiss, and she accepts it. Like, she didn't push him away. She didn't say no. I think she was kind of blinded by the twinkle at that moment. You know, she saw that little bling bling, and she was just like, ooh, you know, I haven't had one of these in a while. You know, I'm missing this. So when she ends up going to, well, I'll tell y'all that. Well, yeah, she ends up going to a party with him where Stern was. Like, it was a party for Stern. And she was talking to Silver, and Silver noticed the ring. And he was, like, real jealous when he seen that. Like, what's this? I see you got a new piece of jewelry. I see that this is, like, the stuff that you like. And they showed another scene following that where, I'm going to come back to the Silver stuff. Sandoval, he's starting to get real nervous because Angela is on to him, as well as, I think his name is Donovan, the black AUSA officer. So right now that dude is on desk duty, but he brings over a tape because, you know, Angela's just like, who went upstairs? Somebody got hair in my mouth. Somebody had to have planted. Oh, that's awful. Somebody had to have planted the gun. So that's what we need to find out. So, you know, he got so nervous that he literally went to Donovan's house ready to kill the man with a silencer. But luckily, it was his kids that was there. Like, he almost, like, he was, like, ready. And then the little girl opened the door and she's like, oh, hey, Mike, how are you? Or Sandoval, how are you? And then he's like, oh, I didn't know that your dad had you guys this weekend. She's like, yeah, do you want me to tell him you came by? And he's just like, no. Yeah, I bet you don't want it. Because you don't want him to know that you were coming to kill his behind. That's what it is. So, yeah, that was like, I'm just like, he's doing too much. He's acting mad desperate. And he's gonna get nasty and slip up. I mean, he's already done a lot of kind of just like slimy stuff, and just like he's slipping, you know what I mean? He's not being very discreet with everything. Like, he think he's slick, but he's not. So Donovan was over at Angela's house showing her the tape, and they're starting to see that it looks like Mike had went upstairs before everyone else. So stuff is starting to really come together. I seen a commercial that looked like he's about to head over to her house. So I don't know. But the thing about it is, there's a lot of cops there right now. So, but he has the gift of gab. I really hope that she doesn't let him into her house, because I feel like there's no reason for it, you know? So now Silver, like I was saying, back to that, he gets jealous and he just says what he has to say. And later on, like, she kind of checks it, does a mental check, because, you know, she couldn't really say too much because she was at the party with all these, like, rich folks. So later on that evening, she ends up going over to Silver's house to just kind of apologize and explain herself. Like, this is just because of what you told me. Like, I need to make sure that I'm doing this properly. So that's why I'm doing this. There's no other reason. And she just kind of throws that out there, lets him know. And he's just like, you know, maybe you should leave. Because I know he felt the heat, honey. He felt the heat coming. And he was like, you know, I think you need to leave before I turn into a werewolf and gobble you up, girl. Because you looking good. You know, and she just ends up, she was the one who initiated. She started kissing him, and the passion just came over, took off the shirt. And I was just like, oh, this is looking good. He got a nice body, a nice face. I mean, he not as good looking as James St. Patrick, but, you know, I'll take what I can get, because we ain't getting too much of James at the moment. I feel like Tasha and him gonna have sex soon, though. I have a feeling, because he gave it a bling. She's kind of, you know, but I feel like that might happen. But right now, we seeing this, and I was like, yes, okay. It wasn't as amazing as the Julio scene, though, but it was okay, you know? I could definitely use a little bit more of that. I mean, it could have been a little bit longer, too. I'll just say it. Like, he don't seem as wild and as, but then again, like, he's an officer of the court, you know? He's not thug life, oh, I kill people, so I guess that's why Jamie be going in, you know? And he's just more like he seemed more like a love maker, you know? Theirs was more like passionate type. So, yeah, I don't know where this is going to go, but, I mean, she messing up business big time. She already messed up business, getting him stuck with Stern. I mean, it's good if he's able to flip it. And, you know, Jamie got his own mind, so at the end of the day, he's going to do what he got to do. But I'm like, how much money did she even take from Stern for where he has to do this? Like, was there a contract signed? Like, why can't he just give him the money back, you know? So anyways, Tommy, he finally gets a call from Teresi, and he tells him that he's his dad. Okay, he tells him that it wasn't his choice. Like, first Tommy was like, yo, cut the BS. I don't even want to, like, don't even start with me. But then he starts telling him stuff that only somebody that was close to his family would know. Like, oh, it wasn't my fault. I got to let you know this. Family's real important to me. And it was Kate's doing. She didn't want it. She didn't want me around you or some crap like that. Like, pretty much it was Kate's choice. And it wasn't really his choice. And he was like, you know, he was like, well, how do you know my mother? And he was like, yo, like, I met her. She was a dancer, and she was beautiful. She had legs and all this, and she was a redhead, and I got this thing for redheads. And it's like, as soon as he said that, it was crazy because, you know, we all know Tommy got a soft spot for them redheads, you know? So I know that kind of, like, caught him off guard. Like, wait, what? Like, nah, this can't be happening. So, I don't know, but I'm feeling like they're probably going to end up meeting up. And I think this could kind of mess up Tommy. It could kind of bring him back to reality, but kind of mess up his game. Just because before, when you don't have anything to lose, you could be a loose cannon. You know, no one can use anything against you. Now, if this ends up getting out, then they can use this against him. You know, they could say, oh, we'll kill your father if you don't do whatever we want you to do, if you don't comply. So now people can hold something over his head. See, with like Ghost, with Jamie, they have a lot they can hold over his head. His wife, his kids, whatever, you know? He has things that he loves, things that he cares for, things that he would die for. But Tommy doesn't have that, so he don't give two F's about nothing. So, I don't know. We're going to see how this swings out. But definitely let me know what you guys think down below, and I will be reading the comments, a few of them, on the next episode. Stay fabulous, live free, and soar limitless. I'll see you in the next one. Later.